Hey, what's up, fantasy people? Thank you so much for tuning into the Fantasy Football Show. Today we're going to be drinking and ranking wide receivers. We're going to do 25 through 11. We're going to save the top 10 for its own separate show. And I'm going to share these rankings with you here in a second. So here's our wide receiver rankings. You can see mine that are color-coded in tiers. Then Jason's next to that. And then I average the two for our show's rankings. And that is the order that we're going to go through today. So pay attention, please, snapshot it or whatever you have to do. Sit back and enjoy the show.
You can do it!
What's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard Ethan Wolt, coming at you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Football Show. Today's episode, we're going to go over our top 25 through 11 wide receiver rankings. I just talked about that a second ago if you watched this. We went over the running backs last week, so if you didn't catch that, go back and watch it. We're going to give the 1 through 10 its own episode because they deserve it, Jason. And, we're not trying to make people watch an hour and a half of us, so there you go. And before we get into all of that, thank you so much for watching this in the first place, people. And Jason, please tell the public how they can help this show.
The public, you guys have been great. This past month, you guys have been awesome. If you guys made it this far, if you could please hit the subscribe, press the like, we like the likes, and text us a comment. If there's anything that you agree or disagree with our rankings, let us know. We love the interaction. And if you'd like to listen to us in the car on the way to work, we're on Spotify. Check it out.
All right, Jason, thank you so much for that. We were talking about running backs, that we're keeping our eye on, and all of a sudden I smelled smoke. I feel the heat. And now it's time for the barbecue question of the week. Was that good?
Yeah, that was awesome. This is the barbecue question of the week where we answer the questions that you want to know. And this week's question is, Tyler, out of the wide receivers, who are you keeping an eye on?
So I was just checking out, dude, Jason, I went back to your and mine rankings like at the end of last season, and we had like Calvin Ridley ranked so high. I can't remember what it was. And then all the research I've been doing about strength of schedule, the Jaguars offensive line, I've been kind of knocking down Calvin Ridley. But still, dude, like if he comes out in the preseason and it like shows pretty good chemistry, like amazing chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to be like, screw it all, dude. I'm giving him the third round or fourth round. I'm not going to do that. But still, like, I'm going to be like, I'm getting him no matter what. So he is like the wide receiver. I mean, ever since last season and the Jaguars signed him, because you and I were higher on the Jaguars. Sorry, I'm pronouncing their name wrong. Sorry, Duval County.
Duval!
Than anybody else, dude. Seriously. And then it played out that way. And now, dude, I'm like, dude, Calvin Ridley, man. I just want to see Trevor Lawrence with a big wide receiver.
Yeah. You want to keep an eye on this dude in case you need to roll a dice and gamble a little bit on him. Get it?
Oh, yeah. You said that in our last time, too.
Tough crowd out there.
I was thinking about Nipsey Hussle, dude. I was like, roll the dice. I paid the price.
What's like anyways. Seth Rogen and Knocked Up? The only move he knew was the dice. Yeah. Let me see your hips swing down on the floor. Yeah.
Dude, if that song plays, my wife literally goes crazy, man. She is like dragging me from the bar to the dance floor.
This is my song!
Hey, Jason, I was listening to Nellyville, or no, it wasn't Nellyville. Country Grammar, dude. That album was amazing. When I was waiting,
I still have Country Grammar on my phone,
dude. EI, whatever, dude. All those songs were so good. If you haven't watched this, you're too young. Go back and watch it. Jason, let's get right in to our wide receivers. And so our first person I want to talk about, we have them both ranked. I have him ranked outside the top 25. Jason, you have him ranked 23. I do want to address Tyler Lockett just because ESPN has him ranked pretty high. I am fearful for Tyler Lockett because I believe in DK Metcalf, and now they put, Njigba in there, and he's going to eat up all those, like, I just feel like, Metcalf was a highly targeted person. Lockett was kind of like the sporadic long touchdown dude, and now we're giving another high volume target in this offense. I just fear for Lockett's, ability to help your fantasy consistently. I think he's going to be like good for best ball. He'll have big weeks, but as far as consistent value for your regular redraft league, I just don't see it.
Yeah, last year, he ended in the top 15 overall. He was a big surprise. I mean, most of Seattle was a big surprise, but he was still being used. He is the speedster. He was reliable last year. Yes. He is 30 years old. He did average like 12.2 points per game and half point PPR. He's known for his speed, not so much for his contested catches. He did have 117 targets last year. I do believe Njigba is going to take a lot of those targets, but like I said, he was in the top 15 last year as a wide receiver. He finished the year that way, and so I put him down as 23. We are just sitting here. We're assuming that Najigba is just going to take this huge role from him. But you got to he is still the guy that could get the ball, on a slant and still run it, get a couple of touchdowns throughout the year. It's not like I'm going to believe that he's going to be a top 20 wide receiver, but as 23, yeah, I could still see that. And the only reason why I'm dropping him down is just because I believe Najigba is going to take more of the targets away from Lockett than he is from DK.
Yeah, and my brain just remembered that the reason I knocked him down is because I just think about all his deep touchdowns and everything, just wide open, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Gino's going to have that time this year because they lost Blythe. And, I'm really I'm putting a lot of weight in offensive lines this year. And he was a veteran center. They have those 2 rookie tackles. So that is tough for me right now. Anyways, Jason, next up, we'll just go over Mike Evans real fast. I have him 29. You have him 24. So he's in your top 25. ESPN has him 28.5. I do not want, we talked about this. I even talked about this on the comments. You got Mike Evans' last productive year last year. I don't want any of Mike Evans, dude. He might have a couple good games, but have you watched those videos? You sent it to me, Jason. I'm talking to the public. So I've been drinking a lot. Have you watched those videos of Baker Mayfield and the other dude throwing to their wide receivers? Put us out there, man. Put the dude on the corner with a cardboard sign out there. Seriously, it is going to be the same. So I just don't want any of it.
The reason why I have him in my top 25 is that, his size, he is still going to be the number one on that team. He's only 29 years old, and he was 5th in contested catches last year at 61.8%. And I feel like you're going to need to be good at contesting some catches when you got Baker Mayfield as your quarterback. And I know, so he has the record, or no, he's tied in with Jerry Rice, I believe. If he gains 1,000 yards this year, he will tie Jerry Rice for 10 consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards receiving. I think that is just I see him. That's in it.
This is me applauding for Jerry Rice for holding on to his record. All right, because that ain't happening this year.
And I'm just hoping that they're going to put some extra effort into him getting that ball and to get the 1,000 yards receiving.
They're like Todd Bowles, the defensive coach. I want to get my wide receiver the record. God dang it. No, that's not happening. So, anyways, Jason, next up, I'm going to go straight into, who do I have? I do want to talk about Terry McLaurin. I do feel I almost felt like I was underrating him. You don't have him ranked. ESPN is 22.5. If you look at what he did at the end of last year, man, he is still a huge threat, a huge red zone threat. That's where he makes his money. That's where he helps your fantasy team. And now he gets Eric Bieniemy, Jason, offensive genius, maybe, who knows? So that's why I have him ranked up there. I feel like I should have him ranked higher sometimes, but still. And then let's go to the first person that you and I both have ranked, Jason. Your USC boy. You have him ranked higher than I do, even though I still think that I would love Drake London for my number 3 wide receiver. If I'm getting Drake London as my number 3, I'm set on wide receivers. You have him ranked 22. I have him ranked 24. He was hyper targeted, kind of, but he just wasn't catching touchdowns at the end of last season. How do you feel about London coming up next year?
I feel like he's going to be 22. Ranked 22. He's still pretty young, He was nothing too great. He was 32nd in touchdowns last year. He didn't even get 1,000 yards on that offense. He only averaged 8.4 points per game. But he did get 117 targets. They did what he was playing with Mariota for the first half of the year. We saw how Mariota was.
Oh yeah.
And I think part of this thing is like the reason why I have him so high is because, you know, is Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is probably like the main attraction when it comes to the wide receivers. If he has another down year, I could see Drake London being really taking over that role of taking his targets, his catches, his touchdowns. The last 5 games last year for Drake London, he ended with like 32 catches on 48 targets, which is a good catch rate. Oh my god!
I clicked over to you. I was like, "Man, is Jason okay?"
I'm dying here.
Oh, I clicked. Man, I this too.
And I'm hoping for the second year jump with Drake London.
All right, guys. So we know this from the fantasy footballers. I don't watch them anymore because I need the show to be unique, but still, second year jump for the wide receivers is great. So you're looking at Drake London getting that second year leap. It's a sticky stat. And then Jason, let's see. Let's go up to. I do want to address Christian Watson. I have him ranked 22. You do not have him ranked. I am low on Christian Watson. Hey, dude, ESPN. Apparently, I'm higher on him than ESPN. ESPN has him at 24. So people are really digging Christian Watson. I really like at that point in the draft. I'm targeting other people, dude, or other positions. And maybe you can get like Justin Herbert around there or something like that. I just do not want Christian Watson on my team. There's too much unknowns. Some guy was just telling me something about Aaron Jones on that team, and I was like, dude, I need to see like in the preseason, maybe if Love shows me something. I told him I was like, I don't believe in Love whatsoever. That sounds weird. I put that in the thing too. I have a wife, I've got to believe in love, right? But yeah, Jason. Anyways, Christian Watson, I have him ranked 23 or 22. It's just because his upside. Like maybe Love's better than everybody thinks because Green Bay still has like a top 10 offensive line, so maybe it works out. But until I see something, I'm not going to have him ranked high.
Yeah, there's a reason why Aaron Rodgers was not giving him any attention for the first part of the year, and he's fast. He's fast. If he could catch the ball, if he could actually put his hands around it and catch it and bring it in, he might be able to do something, outrun some defenders. But you also got Jordan Love as the wide receiver or as the quarterback throwing him the ball. So it's like what you said. I got to see it to believe it. And right now, the word coming out of camp is that Dobbs is having a great connection with Love and Watson. So
I've heard that as well. And then Jason, I do want to point out that if you average I sorted our average, or whatever. Our tiers are the same except for Deebo Samuel. I have Deebo Samuel ranked way higher than you. So like, even though our ranks are different, our tiers are the same. So we view players pretty much the same. So that does give me some confidence when I look at this. Jason, next up though, you have Deebo ranked 25. I have him ranked 18. I still remember when he was dominating and then he got injured last year. I believe in Brock Purdy. When I watch Brock Purdy play, it's like, dude, it just like sets up really well for Deebo's game, like quick slants and stuff like that. The word out of camp is that Ayuk is killing it. So that, whatever, that sucks, but whatever. I still think that Deebo deserves to be at least 18. Why do you have Deebo on your on the fringe 25?
Because if he's not rushing for touchdowns, he sucks.
Yeah, he wasn't getting the usage.
Yeah, the year that he like blew up, where everyone was like, "Oh my god, this guy's next superstar," and he's like, "He's all pay me. I want to get paid." The guy had like 8 rushing touchdowns that season, and then last year he only had 3. And then look what happened. So, the San Francisco 49ers are kind of funny, especially when it comes to like the wide receivers. Like when everyone's healthy, I feel like the people you can really rely on is Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle. But like I feel like it takes an injury to one of the wide receivers for the other ones to actually stand out more. So if he's not getting the rushing touchdowns, I don't believe in Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And they brought in Christian McCaffrey. They have Elijah Mitchell, 2 talented running backs. It's very scary. They still have like Trey Sermon on that team and stuff like that. So I don't. But Deebo got paid, and he got paid to run the ball as well. So who knows? It's kind of a mystery right now. if he was like guaranteed rushing touchdowns, that fool would be ranked top 10. So I think that his risk is baked into his ADP. And then Jason, next up, I have Diontae Johnson 21. You have him 19. I am super high on Diontae Johnson. He like broke some record for targets without a touchdown last year. ESPN is even higher on him, 17. And we have Kenny Pickett going to his second year. I think that you and I might both be too low on Diontae Johnson, but it's just kind of scary to rank him ahead of the people ahead of him. We'll talk about them soon.
Whew. Yeah, the only reason why I do have him this high is because he is a talented player. He's a talented wide receiver. You could go and watch clips of his route running. They're pretty dang good. And he's really good at catching the ball. The problem last year was he got the targets. He had like 147 targets. The rookie quarterback was not that quite accurate because his catch rate was only like 58%. But the whole thing is, it's like he had 147 targets and 0 touchdowns. That's unfreaking believable.
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
from Halo.
Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Let them get some touchdowns. Let them get some touchdowns.
Let the touchdowns hit the floor. Let the touchdowns hit the floor.
Yeah, I just feel like there's no way this guy is going to get that many targets again and not be able to get a touchdown out of it. So I see him getting multiple touchdowns this year. I think last year was just a weird fluke curse type thing. Kenny Pickett, everyone's starting to believe in him, with the second year and how he ended last year. So I can see him getting those targets again, but I can see him actually putting up some touchdowns.
All right, Jason. And then coming up, next up, dude, we have he's the next Jerry Rice. Have you seen Jerry Jeudy? Jerry Rice? They have the same name. I think they're the same players. So I was talking about how I like big-bodied wide receivers for Sean Payton, but we're talking about chemistry with the quarterback. Dude, all I've heard about is how Jerry Jeudy's doing well with Russell Wilson. You saw Russell Wilson, dude. He's lost like 20 pounds. He looks like he did in his rookie year. So yeah, dude, I think that Jerry Jeudy, you and I both have him ranked the same. It's our first one that's ranked the same at 20. I would not mind to have Jerry Jeudy, dude. If he's my wide receiver 3, I'd feel amazing. But if he's my wide receiver 2, I'd still feel okay about it.
This is crazy right now.
Why, Jason?
You have him above Courtland Sutton?
Oh yeah, dude. Why is that crazy? I owned Courtland Sutton last season and what he did to me, right? But
you've been still so high on him.
He bet me over, Jason. He bet me over. I can't to get over these wide receivers. Am I ever going to draft Courtland Sutton or Michael Pittman or Gabe Davis again? They are in hell, dude. They're in hell. And they've got to go through purgatory before they even get to where I'm going to draft them.
We did it, people. Tyler's on the train. We got him. Chicka, 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 choo, choo.
Northern Boys, this is for you. Go check out the Northern Boys Sexy Train. It's a great music video. I sent it to you, Jason. Did you watch it?
Yeah. The first guy is funny. I like the first
Come
rapper.
Come ride the train.
Yeah.
Come on. Mother effer, do you want to make love to me? Come on. Mother effer, do you want to F with me? Come on.
They go to the hospital.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
We're drinking. I'm like, dude, oh my God. I'm buzzing. So buzz off, Buster.
Buzz off. Okay. So, I had Jerry Jeudy last year, and I gave up on him too soon, but how soon is it? Because he really didn't do anything until the last 5 games of the season, where 2 of those games he had over 100 yards. He averaged 8 targets a game. He had 3 touchdowns in 1 game, and you could tell that he's built some rapport with Wilson. Then the Broncos go ahead and they pick up a 5th-year option on him, so you know that they're really trusting this guy. They believe him. You can see the confidence. And he's 24 years old, so he's a little bit of a young guy, and he's a speedster. What is that? What are you doing?
He's a speedster. All right. That's a ring.
Okay.
We talked about Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah. I like the report. It looks like he's building with Russell Wilson.
Hollywood. See, I remember that from the Fantasy Footballer show. Hollywood.
Yeah.
I quit watching them as soon as we started making this show, but hey, I still love them. And dude, Hollywood Brown was like, dude, like averaging 10 plus targets a game when what's his name, Hopkins left. Problem is, Jason, is that we do not know when Kyler Murray is going to return. He did give an interview recently, and he said he was going to be like all right or whatever. But like I said, like Javonte Williams, dude, you can't trust a player talking about his own health because he wants that money.
I'll be ready by training camp by week 1. I'll be there.
I'll be there. What?
On the bench in crutches.
It's like J.K. Dobbins or whoever it was on the Ravens. Like, I'm not injured. Quit saying I'm injured. I'm going to be playing next week. It's like 7 weeks later. So, yeah, I do think that Hollywood Brown it's a high risk, high reward, dude. Like, he could literally be a top 10 wide receiver if like Kyler Murray was starting the year. So, it's almost like DeAndre Hopkins was last year. You're waiting for Kyler Murray's return. How do you feel about Hollywood, Jason?
I think that's exactly it right there. I think if you're getting this guy, you're betting on him for the end of the season. But remember, it's not how you start a season; it's how you end it. And for fantasy football, he was the Cardinals' number 1 wide receiver in the first 6 games before DeAndre Hopkins came back from his suspension. During that span, he had 3 touchdowns, 43 receptions, and 64 targets. And now Hopkins is gone. So it looks like he's going to be the number 1 dude. They did draft somebody, but I'm kind of concerned about him. It's like, I think it's like Wilson. But that dude, like, it's crazy. They drafted him, and he barely played in college because of injuries. So that kind of makes me not even want to look that way. But this is so when Kyler Murray comes back and he's playing, his number 1 wide receiver is going to be Marquise Brown. And we've seen what he could do without Hopkins there as Murray as a quarterback. So that's why I got him in the top 25.
Dang, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm making this hard for myself, aren't I?
I guess. It's so blurry, I can't even see.
Oh, yeah? What about now? Oh, yeah, because you can't, because sometimes we just look blurry to each other until we process this video.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have to watch this whole damn thing just to timestamp it for you fools. But you're worth it, everybody. Just remember, you're worth a timestamp. Yeah. Next time you're depressed, you're like, oh my God, that guy timestamped it for me.
I'm worth a timestamp. I am lucky to be alive.
That's how I say every day, dude. All right, man. So go get yourself checked for cancer. T. Higgins. Jason, I've always been low on T. Higgins, but guess what, dude? You and I are actually on the same thing. We're 17 on T. Higgins. ESPN has him ranked 13.5, so they are higher. I just remember like last season thinking like I was looking for wide receivers to trade for, and I was looking at T. Higgins. It's like, I don't want T. Higgins this year. Look at him, dude. He's so inconsistent. So yeah, dude, like he could have some big games, but as like he kind of really showed his inconsistency last season. You know, Joe Burrow does not mind spreading the ball. Like if he's going to hyper target somebody, it's going to be Chase. How do you feel about T. Higgins?
I think T. Higgins is definitely somebody you're going to have like wide receiver 2 or 3. And part of the reason why I wanted to look into him is just because he's going to be on that high power offense of the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, breaking news, Tyler, Joe Mixon is staying with the Bengals. They actually restructured his contract so he could stay there. So they're not releasing him. But, you know, if like Jamar Chase, if he gets hurt, T. Higgins quickly becomes the number 1 wide receiver for that high-power offense with Joe Burrow throwing the ball. And also, he had 7 touchdowns last year, and he had over 1,000 receivings as a number 2 wide receiver. He did average 11.5 points per game and a half-point PPR. He's a big body as a number 2. Yeah, so it's basically just he's on that high-power offense. He's going to have some good games. He's going to have some bad games. But if Jamar Chase ever goes down, he's going to quickly be the number 1 for that team.
All right, Jason. Devonta Smith. Dude, like if you were a Devonta Smith owner last year, you were so happy. Like he went late. They were one of the there's usually 2 teams per season historically that have 2 top 15 wide receivers. I'm pretty sure that Eagles were one of them, or they were pretty damn close. Devonta Smith, Heisman Trophy winner in college, Jason. And like, dude, he has games where he is just like has 10 plus targets per game. And you watch him, dude, like He is like almost uncoverable. They have the best offensive line in the league. I really love A.J. Brown. But hey, I think Devonta Smith would be great for your wide receiver 2. Wide receiver 1 if you have to.
Yeah, this is a guy who, when you drafted him at the start of the year, you were kind of like iffy about him, but he really pulled it together in the last 6 games. He had 4 100-yard games and 4 touchdowns, and he averaged 9 targets a game. He's definitely a speedster as a number 2, and he has Jalen Hurts throwing him the ball in that high power offense, right? And he was 8th in receiving last year, Tyler, with 1,196 yards. The guy averaged 12.2 yards per game, so he could be another guy where, if A.J. Brown goes down, he's on a high-power offense, and he could get that ball. And he's going to run it, and he's going to score, and he could be the number 1, and he could do it. No.
Did you have to waste time while I pee, Jason? Sorry.
Is that what you did?
Oh, it feels so good. I thought I was going to explode. I thought I was going to explode. All right, dude. So next up, I have this guy ranked higher than you do, Jason. I've got him at 14. You have him at 18. Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is ranked high for me just because when I was like grading out Justin Herbert, I was like, oh my God, dude, everything is like pointing in Justin Herbert's direction to like really make a big leap next year. And I was like, who? Do I trust Mike Williams? No. Do I trust like Gerald Everett? No. It's like, dude, when it comes down to it, it's like Keenan Allen. Like if Justin Herbert's going to do what I think he's going to do, Keenan Allen is going to have to be productive. So that's the only reason I ranked him high. How do you feel about Keenan Allen?
Ooh, Keenan Allen. He had a plague season last year. I think he only played like 10 games. Quarterback was hurt last year too. But when Keenan was healthy, he averaged 13.1 points per game. But the last few games of the season, he had a few 100-yard games and 2 touchdowns. Kellen Moore is in town, and he works for the wide receivers. He's an offensive coordinator for the wide receivers. Quentin Johnson is in. They got drafted, the Chargers drafted Quentin Johnson. Do I think he's going to take away targets from Keenan Allen? No, I think he's going to take away targets from Mike Williams.
Yeah, because he's a clone.
Right. And, it's like I don't have Keenan Allen or Mike Williams in the top 25. I think the rapport's there. The only reason why I have him a little bit lower is just because he has been dealing with like injuries throughout his whole season. And last year was pretty bad. Now he's 31 years old, and I'm just, the possibility. I mean, I get injured by rolling out of bed when I was 31, and this guy's getting hit by linebackers at safety. So it's just a precaution. I'm just being cautious with this guy.
I was thinking about some crazy stuff to say, but I won't. All right, Jason. We talked about him before the show started. You're even higher on him than I am. Like I said, I knocked him because of his offensive line. Otherwise, I'd have him in the next tier. I probably would even have him over Olave. Oh, for sure. And then it would be between Cooper and Olave and Ridley. We're talking about Calvin Ridley, Jason. Trevor Lawrence, dude, he was like scoring. Dude, he was killing it last season. And it was all in comeback stuff. But just imagine him with like a big number 1 wide receiver. I would love it, dude. I would love it. I want a piece of it. I want a piece of it, Jason. How do you feel about Calvin Ridley? You are a little bit higher than him because I said, their offensive line is going to have as much time to throw it deep.
Yeah, I have him as number 12 on mine rankings. He's still under 30. He hasn't played in a year and a half. So, like, basically, you're kind of looking back till 2020, where he had 143 targets on 90 receptions, and that is a staggering 6.2 or 62.9 catch rate. Staggering. It's kind of funny. I kept doing these catch rates, and I'm like, oh my God, this is high. And then I go up and did another one. I'm like, oh my God, this is high. I had to keep coming up
even better.
Yeah, I had to keep coming up with more words to say staggering 62.9 catch rate. He did have 9 touchdowns that year and 1,300 yards. This guy could play short. He could play in the mid. He could play deep. Those stats are basically elite level. He's going to be a good wide receiver 1, and he's on the same team as an up-and-coming quarterback. I think he's quickly. I can see probably like 3-4 games. This guy's really going to make a stamp on the field with Trevor Lawrence throwing him the ball.
And like, if you're looking for wide receivers that can like make the jump to like a top tier wide receiver, and you can draft him as he's like in my 4th tier right now. I think Ridley's your best bet. Ridley, believe it or not, Jason, ESPN wide receivers, he's ranked 30, man. So it's like ESPN is just taking a dump all over Ridley. I do not think he's going to be, dude, tell me he's going to be a top 20 wide receiver next year. I don't care what happens. I think it's just a matter of can he make top 15, top 10. I would love to still draft him. It just depends on kind of what's happening around him. Jason, next up, I had a trade for him last year. If Jameis Winston was the freaking quarterback, I'd have him in my top 5, for God's sakes. Chris Olave making a second-year leap. He is a crafty wide receiver. He just knows how to get open. I have him 13. You have him 14. ESPN is a little bit more down on them. He had 15.5. So how do you feel about Olave?
So this was just something that we kind of went over a couple of weeks ago and then a couple of months ago. Is that maybe he's getting an upgrade with Derek Carr? We kind of did the stats like Derek Carr had basically the same stats as Andy Dalton, but I guess they went with a younger guy. He's a number 1 wide receiver on that team in a weak division. Last year, he had over 1,000 receiving yards and he averaged 10.8 points per game. We're expected to see a second-year jump, and he had 119 targets, which is pretty good, on 72 receptions. He had 4 touchdowns. We want to see that kind of get bumped up a little bit. I think it might. I think he's going to get more than 4 touchdowns this year.
All right, man. So I did the 1,000-yard stare. I don't know if I could watch myself on video. I was like thinking about The Walking Dead. I was like, man, I wish I could live in the universe of Walking Dead. I would just get to like you could just. It feels like you could just bust a skull by squirting him with a super soaker. It's crazy. All right, man. Sorry, it's getting. My wife is rewatching The Walking Dead. We're in season 6. You could literally shoot a jet stream, just like a squirt gun at a zombie, and it goes through their head. It's crazy.
Is Negan there yet?
No, it's the wolves just attacked. The wolves, they don't have guns, but apparently they survived everything and they attack everybody. That makes no sense. All right, so we're going through, dude. Jason, I love this dude. Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I watch with my parents every TGIF, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What is that guy's name? Sinbad, man. I still love that dude. Amari Cooper, I'm 12, you're 15. What are you going to say?
No, I was like, was Sinbad on that show?
Dude, Sinbad was that show. He was Mr. Cooper.
Are you sure? Maybe.
I'm positive.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I don't remember that.
Oh, dude. If that's not Hanging with Mr. Cooper, I don't know what it is. Anyways, Amari Cooper, dude, Dak Prescott, oh my God, dude, how good of a wide receiver is this guy? He made Dak Prescott into a superstar, and now he's just a star on the side of his helmet. But his game, I feel like quick slants and stuff like that. It's like I could just see Deshaun Watson, man, doing that little stupid step up, hitting him over the middle, and him taking slants. As soon as they traded it to him, I was like, oh my God, watch this. So Donovan Peoples-Jones kind of dominated last year. People forget about Cooper. I think that Cooper is a value this year. I have him at 12. You have him at 15. ESPN 19. That is one of our values, Jason.
Yeah, so, one of the things that we're hoping for is just Deshaun Watson goes back to his MVP level of play. And if he could do that, the number 1 wide receiver on that team by far is Amari Cooper. And, he's 29. He's not 30 yet. He did have 9 touchdowns last year. It was kind of like an up and down year. He had 1 good game with Deshaun Watson, but Amari, like you said, slant, take it the distance. He's still a good, talented route runner, and he's a clear number 1 on the team. But he's going to rely a lot on Deshaun Watson's if he's going to show up in 2003 or not.
All right, Jason. And then next up, DK Metcalf. I think we're on number 11. I remember doing a write-up on DK Metcalf in the middle of last season. I was like, there's only 2 superior athletes that are hyper-targeted. It's Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf. Those guys are world-class athletes, just freaks, man. The freaky freaks. I said that last time, it was funny. And they're hyper-targeted. And, dude, you could get Metcalf 12, whereas I have, Hill way up on the top tier. So we have them both ranked at 11. That's great. ESPN is 13. We're still higher on him. I think that they're afraid about Njigba. But I just see, dude, Geno Smith loved him some Metcalf, dude. Their connection was great. And I see that, going into next year as well. So how do you feel about Metcalf, Jason?
It's crazy. It's like take us back a year ago, and we were like Russell Wilson was down on the team, and nobody wanted
no,
nobody,
Gino.
yeah, nobody wanted a piece of Seattle. And now I'm like, give me all the pieces. He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year, and you're talking about targets, Tyler. He had insane 63.8 catch rate. See, I had to go from staggering to insane. It's an insane 63.8 catch rate. But he was third in red zone targets with 27, but he only caught 8.
I know.
He
Dude,
only
watch
caught
those games, man. If you watch Seattle games, like I live in Redding, California, I've got to watch a lot of them. Jason lives like in Vancouver. Oh my god, dude, we get so many Seattle games. They're looking for Metcalf to score some touchdowns.
Yeah, and that catch rate's only 29%. So this guy is built like a Greek god, and I believe that catch rate will go up to Olympus,
to godlike figures.
Godlike figures.
Heimdall, send me to Earth because I've got a football game to play.
I got a football game to play. It's the end of the game. It's end game.
All right, Jason.
Tyler, you said you had him at number 11?
Yeah, you did too.
Yeah, we both had him. Okay.
So, all right, dude. Jason has this guy ranked higher than me because his dad has feasted off this dude for years. We've watched Jason's dad like win championships with this dude. And we're talking about the sun god, Amon-Ra. Oh, man. The Egyptians would have been proud of this dude. I have him 10. Jason has him 8. Like, everybody above him has really, like, huge depth of targets and hyper-targeted, so that's the only reason I have people ahead of him. But as far as, like, hyper-targeted people, Jason, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown as far as consistency and targets. Oh, my God, dude. Like, if he's my wide receiver 1, I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah, he finished in the top 10 last year, right? I think he was like wide receiver like 7 or 8, but
I don't have it right. I should have had finishes actually.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that'd have been a great category to add as finishes. I'll add that next time.
Yeah, so he had 10 touchdowns last year, and he was 10th in receiving yards with 1,161. Tyler, 106 catches on 146 targets. That is godlike 74 catch rate. See, I had to go from
That's a good number. I got to go staggering,
staggering, insane, godlike,
insane, godlike.
Yeah.
What's funny is because insane people think they are God. So there you go.
Yeah, that explains a lot about me. So he had 21 red zone targets last year, and he had 13 receptions on those 21 targets, but all his touchdowns came in the red zone. He averaged 13.4 yards per game, or points per game. I feel like nothing's going to change. What's really going to change in his productivity for next year, right? Like, what's that rookie's name? Jameson Williams, I think his name is. He's suspended 6 games, and he's like more of like kind of a deep threat kind of a guy. They still have a top 5 offensive line, and they're probably still going to have a bad defense, and Jared Goff is the quarterback. So I don't really see anything changing. And what we said earlier, I think he finished around 7 or 8 last year, and that's why I have him again. I have him ranked 8. I don't see much changing with this guy.
So we have Metcalf and then Amon. All right, people. That is it for this show. Come back on Monday. We are going to be releasing our top 10. Thank you so much, man. Like, just like the small act of, I never liked or subscribed to anybody before I started doing like, the show or whatever. Like, it makes people feel so good. Now I like and subscribe to a lot of stuff because, man, people put a lot of work into this, and just like, dude, it is so validating when people just even click that little thumbs up. So if you want to do that for us, that's great. If you want to give us improvements, that's great. And a shout out again, dude, to the guy that wanted to edit for us. Like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how good that makes us feel.
That's huge. That's huge. Thank you very much for that.
Seriously, dude. So
we started taking resumes.
I should like actually, I wish we're not going to get paid for so long, and even when we get paid, I don't know how much we'll get paid. So
probably millions.
I'm going to keep that guy's name down just in case we do get paid, and I'm going to be like, hey, dude, guess what? You are going to work for us, and you are going to get paid.
Give me some coffee.
Nah.
Just kidding.
Email it to me. All
Yeah.
right, guys.
Email
Thank you
me
so
a
much
gift card.
again. Check out our 1 through 10 or 10 through 1 coming up soon. And hey, we appreciate you. Catch you on the flip side.
Mark Cooper was played by Mark Curry. Deuces.
What the hell was that?
Wasn't Sinbad.